Hey, Peacemakers, it's the Soul Coach coming at you with another episode. So sit back and let's find your peace of mind. Hey, Peacemakers, this is the Soul Coach. I'm coming at you with another episode. This episode is called Coaching with Coach Brock Hayes. So let's get started. So, who is Brock Hayes?
Well, first of all, before we start, I just want to thank you for having me on your podcast tonight and look forward to the questions that you are going to ask me. And hopefully it can be insight to some people that's listening and give them some motivation moving forward in their career.
Most definitely.
You asked, who is Brock Hayes? Well, just to keep it simple, I would say Brock Hayes is a young man that has a great heart that's all about seeing people prosper, being positive in everything that they do. Goes a long way stemming from my childhood growing up. I always wanted to see people progress in everything that they do, and I didn't change it when I got older and became an adult. So I guess moving forward, when you talk about who I am, I guess that's just the basis of me, just a person with a great heart and loves helping people and seeing people make it in life.
Okay. So if you want to see people make it in life, and of course your name is Coach Brock Hayes, how did you gain a love for the game of football?
Well, the game of football, it always was an avenue for me growing up to get away from everything that was going on. Growing up in New Orleans, Louisiana, you see a lot of things growing up. You're around so much negativity to where you have to find things that become like your peace of mind, and football was one of those. And that was one of the aspects that really drew me towards becoming a coach, because some of the people that had the most important impact on my life outside of family were my coaches growing up.
Okay. And what did your coaches instill in you at a young age that stuck with you and made you want to actually be a coach?
Oh, they just showed a lot of tough love, just tough love and learning how to compete at the highest level and not quit on things, always looking for the good and bad. Those are some of the things that stuck with me that I learned from my coaches. And I just felt like if they can make an impact on people doing something as simple as football, why can't I? So that was one of the biggest things that led me to becoming a coach.
Okay. And did you start at the lowest level, like Little League, and like middle school and high school?
Well, when I started, I actually started in high school.
Okay.
I always said I wanted to take the path that was like Pee Wee ball all the way up to NFL, but I kind of skipped a couple of steps. So I started out in high school and did some middle school, and now I'm in college. So those have been some of the steps that I've taken from beginning to where I'm at now.
Okay, and that makes sense. You were able to observe and see how things were actually supposed to go. So back in 2009, you received a bachelor's degree in kinesiology and exercise science from Grambling State University. Throughout school, high school and college, how did you learn to incorporate football into the bigger picture? And how did you decide on what classes or degrees would allow you to work in the field of football?
Well, just to break it down in two portions, because that's what it is, two different questions. I decided how I decided on what degree to take. When I entered college, I'm just like most kids that enter in college. You kind of have an idea what you want to do, but you're going to change your major so many times. And as I started college, I took some of the basic classes first, like you should. And it kind of gave me a chance to kind of sit back and think about what I actually wanted to do growing up. And I was like, well, I wanted to be a coach, but I didn't know how to go about doing it. And I ended up going through kinesiology because it was an avenue that allowed me to be able to do that, because I went through the pedagogy part of kinesiology, which is teaching and education. So I was able to kill two birds with one stone. I was able to be a teacher and be a coach and use both of those as an avenue to be able to give back and try to impact the youth where I was born at. and just to be able to incorporate football into the bigger picture, you got to have something to hold over these kids' heads, because some of them get the big picture from the beginning and some don't. So football was just another avenue to be able to impact young men's lives and be able to hold it over their head, because if it's something they love to do, they don't want to lose it. So being a coach and getting into the field of coaching, it was big, because you can always tie both of them together, football and life. And, we tell kids all the time, like especially when I was in high school, you still deal with it in college, like if we have 6 a.m. workouts, you have to get up to do that even when you don't feel like doing it. If you go for 8 o'clock in the morning, you have to get up and go even if you don't feel like doing it. You have to be able to pay attention to details, pay attention to the rules on the job. All that stuff goes hand in hand when you're talking about football and life and bringing it all together. So that was kind of some of the things that led to me wanting to do this and being able to use football as an avenue to help with what I was trying to get accomplished.
Okay, and that definitely makes sense, because, like you said, you want to lay a foundation for what they love and something that is very practical in the real world with life skills. So at the beginning of your career, how did you find mentors in your industry, and what attributes did you look for in these mentors?
Well, when you talk about mentors, I had guys that I've seen when I grew up, or coaches that impacted my life that coached me. But as far as the coaching aspect, I use some of those guys as well, and then with some guys that when you get into it and you start to learn a specific position that you coach, you're kind of trying to find the guys that are considered like the great ones. And, I would reach out to those guys, whether it was email, whether it was going to work camps, and just to be able to pick knowledge from them. And they ended up, like, taking me under their wing. And I was able to learn a lot of things and grow as a young coach, because, in this business, a lot of people think it just happens overnight. And it doesn't actually happen like that. I mean, you have to put in work, you have to put in time, you have to put in sacrifice and effort to become great at what you do. And the only way you can do that is by reaching out to guys that have already been established and be able to take from them what you can to help you grow as a coach.
Yes, most definitely. You have to reach out to the people who have been through the things that you've been through to get practical knowledge and still be able to engage in the field, because you never know when you might need someone in the field to actually help you out. So with your career as coaching, you have experience recruiting. So what are some skills and attributes that you look for in players on and off the field when you're recruiting for football?
Well, recruiting is such is on a big platform where I'm at in college. So I always been an advocate, telling kids, like when I was a high school coach, that you're competing against so many people in the country. What makes you stand out? And the first thing I always talk to them about is you're a student athlete, not an athlete student. You cannot be an athlete without having the academics in place. So, even at this level, when I'm going back and I'm talking to kids, I always tell them it's a business. At the end of the day, we evaluate a lot of kids. And what separates you from the kids? The first thing we do, we watch the film. If we think they're good enough, or they can, help us in any way at our program, then you go on the board. After that, we break it down to academics, and that's where it comes in. The most important part of academics, because if guys are not where they need to be at with the qualifications of being in college, then you automatically get chopped down off the list and slid to the side, and next guys rise up. So when I was in high school, I was a big advocate for that, like academics. That is the most important part. You want to be able to control what you can control. And what I say by that is your play on the field, what you do in the classroom, and let everything else fall in place like it should be. So, when we talk about kids, that's one of the biggest components, their film, their academics. And the second part is nobody wants to deal with a guy that's going to be a problem or a hassle. So we look for good character guys. We want guys that are, if we can go into school and talk to anybody, whether it's a teacher, it's the principal, it's their classmates, it's their peers, it's anybody in the building, we want to be able to ask questions about that kid and get good reviews back. Because at the end of the day, when we're talking about student athletes and you're coming on campus, not only represent yourself, you represent your family, represent your school that you go to, represent your city. And we want to make sure that we're bringing in the right player that fits what we're trying to do as a program.
Yes, and that goes to speaking about professionalism and how you carry yourself, because that has to definitely be instilled in them during high school, especially if they want to continue to play on a college level and so on and so forth, because you can't be someone who is, like you said, want to be a problem and unprofessional. That just doesn't go hand in hand. So with your career, is very similar to military families with constant moving. How has your family been with living in different cities and states and adapting?
Well, when I decided to be a coach and pursue this on a high level, talking collegiately, that's some of the things that comes with it. It's going to be a lot of relocation. It's a lot of uncertainty. So in order for this to work on my behalf, my partner has to be able to understand exactly what I do for a living. And I know it's not an easy job to have, and it's not an easy job to put up with. But if you and your partner are on the same page and have the same vision, the same goals, to stick through this and fight through and do what you're supposed to do, then the benefits you'll be able to reap that comes with this profession. So it's not easy at all. And for anybody that's listening that's aspiring coaches that want to do college, it's not easy at all. It's a lot of sacrifice. There's times during the season when I come home and my daughter's asleep, and when I leave to go to work, she's still asleep. So that's some things that I know I have to kind of deal with. That's not easy at all. But it's just some of the things that comes along with this profession that you have to be willing to be able to handle if you want to be able to succeed in it.
Yes, that's very true. And you're still a fairly new father, so how has fatherhood played a big role in your career?
I would probably say my career has probably played a bigger part in my fatherhood, because me being an educator that I was for 9 years, I was able to deal with so many different personalities and kids and from coaching and the different mindsets and backgrounds, that it kind of helped me be able to understand things about young kids, middle-aged kids, and early adults. So when I look at my daughter, a lot of the things that I experienced as a teacher and a disciplinarian in education, I kind of can have a sixth sense about it, so I can kind of pick up the type of things she do and understand why she acts the way she does, and it kind of helps and benefits me a lot. So I'm just hoping that I can be able to make an impact on her like I've done for so many kids throughout my life.
That's very good, because I didn't think of it as from a father's standpoint with the coaching helping you with fatherhood. So that just blew my mind, because I didn't really think about that, and most listeners probably didn't either. So with you seeing all these personalities, with you coaching and being a mentor, name a time during your coaching career where you might have felt defeated.
Felt defeated probably would be when I decided that I wanted to pursue college. I didn't really have an avenue to travel to get into it. So I kind of went about a lot of things on my own, whether that was reaching out to guys, emailing guys, showing up to places trying to find a job, and it just wasn't happening for me. And a lot of people see where I'm at now, but they don't realize how many no's went into it before it was a final yes. And like I said, it took 9 years of me doing high school football before an opportunity actually presented itself. And during that time, there was a lot of doubt that crept in. There was a lot of, you feel like a failure. But, I always tell people, if you say you're going to have faith, then why worry? And that was something I had to experience myself and go through, because when you're going through those dark storms and you just don't know how to handle it, the first thing you want to do is quit. But those foundations and pillars that were instilled in me from a young age, from when I was a player and when I became a coach, really helped keep me grounded and kept me pushing forward to always see through what was going on and know that it would be all right in the end. And I remember I received a letter, and a lot of people don't know this. It was from Mark Rick. He was the head coach at the University of Georgia. And he was like one of my favorite coaches I've seen growing up. Why? I just thought he was just such a great man, great Christian man, and he was the first person, and really the only person that actually responded to an email that I sent, and he actually signed the letter. He told me, even though you're not in positions, to keep pushing, and it'll work in my favor. And that's always stuck with me since I've been trying to get in.
If I was you, I would have that letter framed right there in my office somewhere. Because that, like you said, that's an idol. That's someone who you looked up to as far as when you were younger and being older. And the fact that they took the time out to respond to your email via letter, that's something that is very, very, that would be something I would always talk about, like you just talked about, because you would think most coaches who are very, very, they're well-known and they're head coaches, you would think like, oh, they just have this automated email or they'll get their assistant to send some little generic thing back to you. But the fact that he made it personable, that's an awesome thing.
Yeah, it's like the greatest denial or greatest denied event I've ever had in my life, and it actually worked out for the best. So I'll never forget that.
Of joy.
I was excited. I was like, man, Coach Rick wrote me back. That's
I
what
would
I'm
have
talking
kept
about.
the envelope and everything.
I still have it. I just haven't framed it. I should frame it, though.
Yes, I would. I would frame it, and that would just be something that don't touch it, don't breathe on it. That's an artifact right there.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
So, since we're talking about something that is a very joyous occasion, what is the best moment that you had as being a high school coach, and what is the best moment while being a college coach?
Best moment in high school was probably being able to. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a state championship program, and not only did we win the championship, but I was able to do it with a lot of my friends that I grew up with and actually play with, and also my youngest brother was on the team. So it kind of became a kind of holistic thing where it was family and friends. We was able to do something together. So I think that'll probably be my greatest moment in high school. In college would just probably be my first game. I mean, it was just so surreal to actually, understand what was going on at the moment and really take it in to really sit back and think like, wow, I made it to college. So I think those are two of the biggest things from high school and college so far. And I'm pretty sure they'll have more that comes along. So, but for right now, those two will probably be the top two moments I've had.
And all right, we're going to take a break right quick, and you're going to hear a message from our sponsors. Let's get back to the show. At any point in time during that championship game or your very first college game, were you nervous? Are you one of those people who gets nervous during your games, or just like, oh, it's just football? Like, this is something that feels like second nature, so I don't get nervous.
I tell you this, I wouldn't say it's nervous. It's more of excitement because you live for moments like that. Like if you're a ball player, you live to be in the great moments. So when they are there, you really take it in. And you take that deep breath, and then whatever you feel, the nervousness or whatever it is, goes away, and then you're just amped up and ready to go. So I wouldn't say so much nervousness. It might be a little bit of it, but most of it is really just excitement and enthusiasm to get after it.
It's basically like I can't wait to open up my Christmas gifts type of excitement.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Okay. So what is your favorite quote to live by and why?
Favorite quote? It's been so many quotes that you hear about, but I think it was one quote, and it sticks with me. It was with one of my previous jobs that I had, and the head coach always talked about a brand. And he was like, you always want people to know you by your brand. And, you know, he elaborated on it when he was talking to the team. He said, and he asked everybody, he said, every time you drink a Coke, he was like, does it taste the same? And everybody was like, yeah, when you drink a Coke, it's going to taste. He said, exactly. He said, that's what you want your brand to be. No matter who it is, where it is, when it is. Whenever someone speaks your name or talk about you, every time they pop that can, it should be exactly the same every single time. And that was a quote that really stuck with me from my coach. And it's something that I elaborate on when I talk to people. I tell them about it. It's always about your brand. No matter who you are, where you at, whenever it is, you should have the same thing said about you regardless of what's going on, and that's your brand.
Yes. So do you feel like with your brand, do you think you've reached that level, especially with you networking a lot? Do you feel like when you come in contact with somebody and they're like, oh, yeah, we know so-and-so, we talked about you, and, yeah, I said this is a great guy, and all of this other stuff, do you feel like everyone has said the same thing about you every single time?
Well, I would hope they are. But no, I just always when I'm doing things, I always think about, you know, as a man, all you have is your word and your last name, and I don't want to tarnish either one of those. So I make sure that I be the same person that I am every day, all day, no matter where I'm at, and be able to be the same person to whoever it is, and it's been able to benefit me through my life and through my career, because what you see is what you get. So, you know, I just continue to be myself and just let that shine, and I guess it's just been moving in the right direction, and I'm guessing that my brain is just speaking for what it is, which that's what I hope it is, as a great person, as, you know, a great guy to be around.
Okay. So you've had a lot of success in your career. So what are some general accolades that you've received so far?
Accolades? Well, personally, you don't actually receive anything. It's more of a team thing. So, you know, I've been a part of some staff that had the Coach of the Year, which is, you know, that has a lot to do with, you know, us as assistant coaches helping the head coach get that. Been a part of, like I said, championship program, coached in some all-star games. You know, so that's been some accolades I've had. I've been fortunate enough to coach some All-Americans and some All-Conference players. So, you know, that kind of makes me feel good about myself, knowing that the things that I'm teaching are being, you know, as it's instructed, is being used and shown off in a great light to other people that see it. Now, I'm not going to take credit for a lot of the stuff that those kids do, because they're just that good of players. But, you know, if they're going to slide me an award, then I'll take an award and say, yeah, I did that.
Okay. So I know that you were saying you love seeing everyone being a part of people doing good in their life. Have you done anything in the community that you received accolades for, or that just as a whole it was a good turnout, whether it's community service or something?
Well, I haven't personally received anything for that, but I like to, you know, I'm one of the people that like to have the name known, but you don't know who the person actually is. So, you know, I do a lot of volunteering, whether it's guys I know putting on camps and stuff, or things in the community where it's just giveaways and giving back. You know, I like to be a part of a lot of things like that. And, you know, sometimes I'll help out in any way, you know, whether if I need to be there or if I need to just tweet something about it, or whether a small donation to help out in the cause of whatever it is. You know, I always try to be able to give back any way I can, because most people think when you're giving back or you're doing stuff, you have to be seen, or it has to always be monetary, and that's not true at all. As long as you're doing your part to help make an impact on one person, then that helps spread that tree branch out and helps it grow, because then that person can be a light to somebody else, and then a light to somebody else, and a light to somebody else. So, you know, that's kind of how I look at things. I want to affect one person at a time, and hopefully they do the same thing, and then we just start branching off like that.
Okay. So another question that I should have ask, but I didn't. What I know most people, like with you being having a very busy schedule and you probably having a lot of friends in different industries and doing a lot of different things with whether it's with their careers or their businesses, how do you support your friends from afar, even though you might not be able to make it there, or how do you keep in touch with them? Because you know some people, like with you having a busy schedule, might be in different time zones. How do you keep that lifelong friendships and stuff?
Well, I mean, if they're as close of a friend as you think they are,
Mm-hmm.
then the careers and the distance and the times should never be an issue. I mean, sometimes you go without talking to a friend for a week or two, and then you should be able to pick that phone up and talk like nothing's even happened. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough to have some great friends to where a lot of them are successful and they are busy, so we kind of have the same kind of timelines and time frames. So we try to sneak in talks as we can, and we check on one another, whether it's text messages or we're sending each other stuff that's going on, and you just support from afar, whether that's always shooting them words of encouragement, or if you get a chance to pop up to go, or send somebody in your place to go to it, or just promote whatever they're trying to do. You know, it's different ways to help friends out to do things, and I always try to help out as much as I can when I can, because I know how it is to want to be successful and to want to be positive about things. So I always want to be able to reach my hand back out and help out as many people as possible, because someone helped me, and it doesn't make sense for me not to help back after someone helped me get to where I am. So, for all those people out there that have made it, so say, I think they should always lend a hand back, always reach back, and try to help the next person coming up, because that's the only way we can keep helping one another be successful in whatever we're trying to do. Always support locals. Everybody wants to support celebrities and all this stuff, but always look back at the people you grew up with, the people from your communities, the people from your city. Just always do something to try to help those guys, whether it's just shooting them a message out the blue. Hey, man, I like what you're doing. Just keep working at it. Those things go a long way when they're trying to become successful at what they're doing. And it keeps them encouraged, because this stuff is not easy. It's not easy. And I tell people all the time, like I said, they see where I'm at now, but they don't see all the sacrifice I went through. And I tell people all the time, when you have a vision, only you see that vision. Everybody else can't see it. So it's no need for you to get frustrated with people like, man, they don't see what I see. They won't see what you see because they're not you. So keep your plans to yourself, plan them out, have them well planned out, game plan, and just attack it and keep fighting no matter what the situation is, no matter how defeated you are. Just keep moving forward, and everything that you're doing is going to work out in the long run.
Most definitely. That really hit home, because you're definitely right. A lot of people don't see your vision, and they're not in your shoes, so they can't tell you how you should plan everything out, or the moves you should make. So to become more knowledgeable in your craft, what are 3 books that you suggest to an aspiring coach, and why?
Well, I'm not really much of a reader, and I know that's kind of bad. It is something that I want to work on going into 2019. So I don't have a specific book, but I mean, if you want to be an aspiring coach or get in this profession, I think a lot of it has to do with, you just have to have good faith and just stay prayed up, stay reading your Bible, and just get after it. Go to camps, go to high schools, go volunteer, do whatever it takes to get on that field to become a coach. Because the best experience that you can have is you actually going through it and learning. I mean, you can read a book and it can give you all these suggestions on how to do things, but the best experience is live experience. And that's the only way you're going to be able to grow in this profession. You have to get after it and just coach, and get in any way you can to learn, take notes, and just watch those drills and see how they interact with people and learn how to be able to gain kids' trust and get them to believe in what you're trying to teach.
Yes. So since you didn't have any book suggestions, what about any conferences that you know of or networking events that are definitely something great?
Oh well, I know every state has a coaches association. Join it. They do clinics a couple of times out the year. You can go on, you can Google that type of stuff and check it out, and that way you can start your networking and your branding. You'll see guys presenting their position groups and different topics and ways to be a coach. That's a good avenue. Just Googling things on the internet, like I said, popping up at schools, reaching out, developing relationships with these coaches, because we come across a lot of people, and you still have to sell yourself. Your brand still has to sell. So you have to make us remember you, because we come across so many people. So whatever it is that you do, whether it's checking in, checking up, or like I said, coming volunteer to coach, or getting a graduate assistant position or anything like that, I just advise you to get at it. If it's something that you really want to do as a coach, and just take it and run with it.
Okay, so they definitely did hear that. What's your dream NFL team to coach for?
As far as the NFL team, I like all teams, but, one team has a special place in my heart, and that's just because I'm from New Orleans and I'm a Saints fan. So the Saints would definitely be my favorite NFL team. But if any of them are willing to hire me, they will also become my favorite NFL team as well. So I don't necessarily have a favorite college team. College football is just so pure in essence, because all those guys are fighting to get to the next level, that you'll always see great teams play and great players. So college football as a whole, I just love. That's why I love coaching in it. But when you talk professionally, it'd definitely be the Saints, because it's the home team for me.
Okay. Who that nation? So where do you see yourself, Coach Brock Hayes, in the next 5 years? Or what are your goals for the next 5 years?
It's funny you say that, because when I entered college, this is going into my 5th year. And, I had some goals that I set, and I was able to attain them. And now I have to start a new vision board for my next 5. I guess as far as me, I just want to continue to be successful, be able to be stable in the position that I'm in, and just be able to grow as a coach. Next thing moving forward, I would like to become a coordinator and also have the opportunity to become a head coach in college. So those are some of the goals I'm kind of starting to put in place, and kind of work a plan on how I plan on marketing myself to get to that point, to be able to carry those things out. So I think that's me in the next 5 years, and moving forward, some things that I want to be able to accomplish.
Okay, that sounds really good to me, and congrats on your 5th year of college coaching. And so with the Peacemakers, how would they be able to keep updates with you or contact you, any of the aspiring coaches? What's your social media? I heard you mention Twitter. Where can they find you?
Oh, they can definitely find me on Twitter with at Coach B Hayes, B as in boy, so it'd be Coach B Hays. That'd be a great avenue to reach out and kind of follow me on there. I'll follow back, and just hit the DMs and just reach out like that. And like I said, I'm always willing to help young guys that want to be coaches and give them whatever knowledge I have, and be able to be a help in any way, like people were for me when I was trying to get into the profession. So that'd be a great avenue to reach me on, is Twitter at Coach B Hayes. This is Coach B Hayes, and you're listening to Peace of Mind with the Soul Coach.
Be sure to cut that notification bell on so that you will get notified every time, whether you're listening on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, or any place. Just go ahead and make sure notifications are on so you can be told when I am dropping a new episode. And definitely like our podcast and let us know what is going on with you, what you want us to talk about, and we'll keep you informed via push notifications on your app. Definitely check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and email us if you need to at yourpeaceofmind2016@gmail.com. All can be found in the show notes of all of our shows, our podcasts, and we'll be able to hit you up and we can chat, peacemakers.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.